Tonight on the Black Channel, when they finally realize they can't beat you, they join you, kind of. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, the everlasting super fortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel, and I am the Black Authority. And you are listening live to the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. Of course, you are welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, you know, folks, you have some moments in time where the lesson that you learn is that Muhammad need not come to the mountain. All Muhammad need do is stand still. All Muhammad need do is stand still, and the mountain will have no choice but to come to him. As you all know, at least you should know there, Coach Prime, after enduring an outrageous amount of adversity here, as you can see on your screens, he has been named as Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year. And there are lessons to be learned from this. Did he have to change anything? Did Deion Sanders change the way he did anything? Did he try to water it down? Did he try to fit in? Did he try to mince words? Did he try to placate people? Did he try to make them more comfortable? Did he alter anything that he did? Did he change a thing? Was he criticized? Was he mocked? Was he attacked on all sides? Yes, he was. And did he change anything? The only thing he changed was to double down on what he'd already been doing. And I think that that is a powerful life lesson to learn, because we all witnessed it. Was the sports media complex favoring him? Hell no. The sports media complex was not favoring him. They were not championing him. They were not defending him. They were not boosting him. They were criticizing him at every turn. Far as they were concerned, their goal was to stack on the pressure and to see him break. Because that's what's happened before. And the man was able to shoulder the load. Remember people criticizing about his son. Nepotism. He's only going there because his son is quarterback. And what will that mean? What about the Mannings? That doesn't matter about that. What they're used to is that when all eyes are on you, you're supposed to break. And that didn't happen. And so now, after all of their attempts to snap him, that didn't work. So now they're trying to do what they always do. Well, let's see if we can get in the lead, and we will take the narrative. Let's see if we can control the narrative now. That's what we're going to see, if we can do that. I want to go ahead and bring you here to Sports Illustrated. This is the article in question. Deion Sanders is Sports Illustrated's 2023 Sports Person of the Year. Now listen to the subheadline. In less than a year, Coach Prime has not only transformed a moribund Colorado football program, he's also breathed fresh life into the campus and transformed the community. What? Deion Sanders has single-handedly transformed college sports across the board. You don't give Sports Person of the Year to somebody who just changed a football program. You don't give sports person of the year to a college coach who has simply, quote unquote, changed a program. That's not the reason you do that. That would be malfeasance if you did that. That would be malfeasance. That's all I want you to understand. That would just be malfeasance if you did such a thing. So they're trying to convince you that that's what it is. I want to give you something here to compare that to. Because I want to put this in its proper context. I don't want you to miss this here. I want you to put this in its proper context. Because these folks here don't do something for nothing. They don't do something for nothing. And when you see them sitting up here saying something and mentioning your name, they got a reason for doing so there. Just in case you were wondering here, let me go ahead and see if we can bring that up for you here. I'm going back over the list of Sports Illustrated's Sports Person of the Year. Going back over their list of Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year. Here's what you end up with in case you all were wondering. Last year, Stephen Curry. Some folks might agree or disagree, but last year was Stephen Curry. So we're talking about the professional sports level. Year before that, Tom Brady. Professional sports level. Naomi Osaka. Activist athlete, so 2020, so they're coming off George Floyd, and I guess they figured they were going to do that. But oh yeah, by the way, they threw in LeBron James. Yeah, so 2020, we got LeBron James and Naomi Osaka. So the professional sports level. Patrick Mahomes, the professional sports level. Breonna Stewart, not really sure what she did, but okay, she was there. But she's there with Patrick Mahomes and LeBron James. So she didn't have to carry this by herself. I'm not even going to Google her to see who she was. No offense. It is what it is. This guy here, if he's not a football player, he should have been. Laurent Duvernay Tardif. 2019, Megan Rapinoe. So I think, she's a soccer player, LGBT soccer player. So yeah, that's what it had to be for 2019. The professional level, basically. Golden State Warriors, the whole team, professional level. Sports Person of the Year, Jose Altuve and J.J. Watts, professional level. Sports Person of the Year 2016, LeBron James, professional level. Serena Williams, professional. You get the point here? Do you get the point that I'm making? You got to come all the way down here before you finally get somebody, Sportswoman and Sportsman of the Year 2011. You got to come all the way to 2011 before you got college sports again. You got to come all the way down there before you can get that again. So, yeah, Sports Illustrated really don't do that. And then you had to have two of them. Couldn't just be one. We got to have two of them. Yeah, they don't just do that. They don't. They say the photo shoot was progressing the way they often do, becoming a war of wills, pitting the perfectionist with the cameras and the lighting, and the smoke machine against the impatient subjects arrayed in front of them. Between poses, Deion Sanders was getting fidgety. They can't just let this man have his damn moment. No, We're going to talk to you so we can go ahead and kick dirt on your name. The coach of Colorado was surrounded by his people. You all see what it says on your screen here. He was surrounded by his people. His agent, the school's chancellor and athletic director, and 99-year-old superfan Peggy Kapam were among the entourage. As the photo crew pored over details, Sanders lobbed one-liners at his sons. Social media maven Deion Jr., Buffalo's quarterback Shadur, and safety Shiloh. He wrapped his arm around his daughter, Colorado basketball player Shalomi, kissing her on the temple. He bent over to speak so Tiny could hear him. Peggy is Deion's match in terms of personality. I thought I was coming for the swimsuit edition, she said. Maybe at 99 years old, I don't know. Sports Illustrated might let you take your shot. But I'm doubtful. But eventually the shoot at Folsom Field needed to wrap so Coach Prime could get back to coaching. Quote, "We're doing one more shot," he said, light but firm. "Let's go." One more shot turned into two with a change of backdrop. Sanders paced between shutter clicks and strobe flashes, talking ball with a visitor, fretting about the tight turnaround for a Friday road game. At that point, the Buffaloes were 4-6 and had lost 4 straight in a rugged Pac-12, 3 of them by 1 score, 2 of them at the very end. Quote, "The Oregon game, I've forgotten it," Sanders said of his home team's lone blowout to that point. "I've moved past it. The others stay with me. 3 points, 7 points, details, consistency. We want to win now." Folks, this is year 1. The last time they did this wasn't year 1 for them. They had to be legends. Pat Summick and Mike Krzyzewski, they had to be legends to become Sportsman of the Year. You had to be legends to do that, folks. You had to be in the game. You had to be doing what you do at the highest level for a while. You had to be there for a minute. You couldn't just sit up here and come walk on the field. That's not the way they did things. That's not the way they do things. And this time, well, okay, that's the way we're doing it now. That's how we're doing it now without you changing a thing. Then the photo crew called Sanders to his mark. A square of black tape on the ground where he was to stand was about 100 students, with about 100 students roaring behind him. Sanders hit the mark, struck the requested pose. It was glow time. Shades on, diamond and gold whistle gleaming around his neck. Boy, don't they sound hateful. The Duke of Drip unveiled one of humankind's most luminous smiles. Okay. Coach Prime lit up on command, as few others can, and his work was done. In a larger sense, his paradigm-shifting, precedent-shattering work in Colorado and in college football might be just beginning. Well, that's interesting. You didn't mention college football up here. You just said he breathed life into a campus and a community. You didn't say anything about the fact that it's transformed college sports until you bury it way down here. Talk about minimizing your accomplishments. Now listen to the next part. There are numbers that define the prime effect upon the University of Colorado in Boulder, a place that hasn't always had a chummy relationship with football. First year applications are up 26.4% year over year. Black or African American applications are up 80.6%. Non-resident applications are up 29.8%. International applications are up 38.4% from 97 countries, including 16 that didn't have any applications last year. Let me say that again. International applications are up 30.8% from 97 countries, including 16 that didn't have any applications last year. What? with those numbers, while those numbers cannot be definitively linked to Sanders, are you kidding me? You all are seeing this, right? While those numbers cannot be definitively linked to Sanders. Folks, if you say that these numbers are definitively linked to Coach Prime Deion Sanders, give me the money bag emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's over 2,500 people in here live right now in just the first 15 minutes. But if you say this was all Coach Prime's doing, give me the money bag emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. Because Sports Illustrated is saying they're not sure. They're not certain if it's Deion Sanders. Well, we're not sure. Is it definitively him? I mean, it could be, but then again, Colorado was kind of heating up before he got there. When you think about it, I mean, we did have a pretty good pie bake-off the previous year. You started off by saying that he's breathed fresh life into the campus. A moribund Colorado football program. You said that, and but numbers are way up, but it's not. We're not sure that it's him that's doing this. Well, yeah, I mean, the numbers are way up, but we ain't sure that's him. That's the reason. We're not certain if it's him. We need more proof. We need more evidence. While those numbers cannot be definitively linked to Sanders, others can be. September sales at the school's online team store were up 2,544% over the same month in 2022. Damn. Folks, so we're not sure that these other numbers are him, but the online sales up 2,500% year over year. He didn't double sales. He's 20x'd them. Sales are 25 times higher this year than they were last year. And then you talking about, yeah, but I don't know if these other numbers up here for all the new applications, I don't know if that's really got to do with him. It's not definitive is what it is. We ain't really sure about that right there. Every home game in 50,183-seat Folsom Field was sold out for the first time in school history. People, this is not me talking. This is not Jason Black talking. This is not Stan talking. This is Sports Illustrated saying that, by the way, oh yeah, for the first time in Colorado's history, their home games, 50,000 seats, have been sold out. Every home game has sold out for the first time in school history. Now, I'm from Louisiana, so with LSU, that's one thing. You start heading out west, and it kind of falls off with that. Deion was able to breathe life into that. We don't know, however, if this sharp increase in applications of students, we don't know if that has anything to do with Deion. Now, the rest of this here, we can't really tell you. Yeah, but we don't know about that. Quote, it has that 1990s energy all over again, said Mark Heinrichs, co-owner of The Sink, a bar within a 10-minute walk of Folsom Field. Quote, there were a lot of discussions over a couple of decades of why do we have football? This is why we have football. You hear this? There were a lot of discussions over a couple of decades of why do we have football? That's how bad things have gotten. There are numbers that define the prime effect on Boulder, a quirky, affluent, and extremely white city of 108,000 that is picturesquely situated northwest of Denver at the foot of the Rocky Mountains. Visit Boulder. The Convention and Visitors Bureau calculates that the total economic impact of the first 4 home games, where attendance was up by nearly a third over last year, was an estimated $77.8 million, a massive jump from 2022. Quote, Boulder felt kind of beaten up or beaten down through the pandemic, says City Council member Rachel Friend. Our potholes haven't been filled as readily. Okay, malfeasance. We can't figure out how to get unhoused people what they need. Well, they need a bus out. And we've had a notable increase in that population. There is a cash infusion from football into the economy. That means more potholes are going to be filled. People living here and visiting here are going to be taken care of better. So do you see what the first damn thing is they telling you is that Deion's making them more money, so we gonna cut the check. So Deion is breathing life into their white city and their white school, and what they talking about is we so glad you doing that, Deion, so we can go ahead and cut the check to everybody except your people. Everybody except yours, we gonna cut the check though. You damn right, Deion got to come in the damn door. Leveraging deals, getting attention, getting their name up. You damn right, because these people are telling you what I warned you about from the beginning. That you leave them alone to it, they gonna cash in on his name. It's always been about exploiting us. So they don't want him to make any money off his name. First college coach ever. They trying to restrict how much money he can make. And yet they're telling you, oh, we gonna live lovely off of what Deion gonna do with us. We gonna live lovely. As I told you, you damn right he got to go get the bag for himself because they're going to try to cut him off at every turn. And there are numbers that help define the prime effect on college football. The previously irrelevant Buffs had the most watched game of the season through the first 11 weeks, as 10.03 million viewers tuned in for the September 23rd loss to Oregon. In fact, Colorado has had 5 of the 13 most watched games. Alabama had 3 of the top 13 to that point, while Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, and LSU each had 2. So, yes, the numbers are huge and paint a vivid portrait of renewal, but they don't fully explain why Sanders is our 2023 Sports Person of the Year. That should be all he needs. I'll be damned. So this is the problem. So in order for a black man to be recognized, he's got to be spectacular if he didn't come up through the system and if he's not a safe Negro that they approve of. Let's just go ahead and say it like it is. LeBron is safe. LeBron's not challenging the status quo. We had to drag him to acknowledge the murderer Tamir Rice. He's always been safe. He's just now started not being harmless. We had to drag him to that. Patrick Mahomes, activist, really? Come on now. Naomi Osaka, activist, really? Come on now. Steph Curry? Come on. Steph Curry is a threat to who? He's not even a threat to his own wife out here showing out. Threat where? So when you got somebody who's not a safe Negro, it's like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. These numbers don't fully explain why Sanders is our 2023 Sports Person of the Year. The human stories run deeper. And not just the celebrities and athletes flocking to the sidelines of games, but also the grassroots stories as the prime effect transcends sports and ripples outward through the culture. In the Colorado Chancellor's office, a delighted smile spreads across the face of 77-year-old Phil DiStefano as he tells a story from earlier this year. One of the school's 5 Nobel laureates was recruiting a nationally acclaimed scientist from California to join the faculty. The laureate wanted to set up a campus visit to interview, and the chemist agreed on one condition. She wanted to meet Deion Sanders. He met with her for 45 minutes, Stefano said. On her way out, he said, "Here's my telephone number and give me yours. I call all my recruits after they visit." Damn. So this man is helping this school way outside of football. This is the chancellor sitting up here admitting that. Oh, this is way outside of football. This has not a damn thing to do with football. This is a whole nother department at the school. And it's like, by the way, Deion is helping you all recruit everywhere. This is what I'm talking about. This is a damn disgrace and an embarrassment. You literally just sat here and said, we're not sure if these attendance numbers are definitively linked to Sanders, right before they tell you a story from the chancellor talking about, by the way, we were able to hire other employees who just said, I just want to meet Deion. I'll make a commitment to your school if I can meet Deion. Right after y'all just said, but we don't know if he's responsible for this huge uptick in interest at the school. This is what we got to deal with. We got to deal with this. We have folks denying mathematical, empirical reality. Look it up. We have people trying to deny concrete, provable facts and telling you 2 + 2 might equal 4, but then again, it could equal 5. Ultimately, Sanders in Colorado lost that recruit to MIT, which is like losing a 5-star football prospect to Alabama. It happens. But the chair of the biochemistry department was so taken by the allure of Sanders and his willingness to help the school academically that he emailed DeStefano something not often articulated by Boulder faculty. Quote, "Phil, we love football." On another part of campus, Professor Ryland Rabaka is exulting over Coach Prime. Rabaka is founder and director of the school's Center for African and African American Studies. The center had its grand opening on February 1st, and Rabaka harbored hopes that Sanders might attend. But then he found out that it was also the late National Signing Day, one of the holy days of the football calendar. Quote, "I wasn't expecting the brother," Rabaka said. "I felt like it was an imposition to ask. When he walked through the door, it was pure pandemonium. It was like Moses parting the Red Sea and coming to me. When I embraced him, it was like two brothers from the projects meeting here in Boulder. I've been out here in Boulder for 20 years waiting on this brother." Let me tell y'all, Colorado is one of the national havens of folks chasing interracial sexual access. They are willing to risk life and limb. They are willing to die. Colorado is not a haven of pro-black anything, just in case nobody told you. Colorado is not a haven of pro-black nothing. Talking about the Center for African American Studies is probably just him and 2 other folk up in there. He said he'd been waiting for 20 years. It's been a long wait. At the Sophomore, a newly opened, locally owned sports bar, an eclectic group of civics leaders gathered for lunch in mid-November and wound up heaping hosannas on Coach Prime. Quote, there is a hum in this town I haven't seen in my 23 years here, said City Council member Matt Benjamin, a Colorado graduate and season ticket holder. Quote, "It's just infectious. People who know nothing about college football are talking about Coach Prime, talking about the CU Buffs. He's bringing people in who were peripheral before, folks. So you're talking about casual fans, casual students, casual teachers, casual employees, casual citizens, which is the life's blood of any business. You can't just rely on, and especially sports or entertainment, you can't just rely on your hardcore fans. You got hardcore people are going to show up no matter what, but they tend to be a small group. You need the casual fans to be able to pick up on that. While Sports Illustrated is telling you, we're not sure if these numbers are definitively linked to him. Well, we're not certain. Lance Carl, a former football player at Colorado who is now the program's director of player development and alumni relations, quote, I met a guy after one game from Dallas who had never been to a game here, but wanted to see what it was all about with Deion. He wasn't a rapper, wasn't a celebrity. He was a black businessman who just wanted to be here. He was a black businessman who just wanted to be here. Annette James, president of the Boulder County branch of the NAACP, and a 43-year resident. Quote, I think he's the best thing that's happened to Boulder since I've lived here by far. The stuff I've been doing over 40 years, Deion comes in and does in 6 months. Well, baby, I think that is a pathetic commentary on your efforts and the efficacy of the NAACP. So Deion Sanders has done more in 6 months than you've done in 43 years? What? Think about that for a few moments, folks. She's saying that Deion has done more in 6 months than she's done in 4 decades? I think that's a sad commentary on the NAACP. But then again, are any of us surprised? She said this, describing attending a campus function with a friend one Friday night before a home game, then going to the nearby embassy suites for a nightcap. Quote, we walked in and there's like 30 black people. My friend said, oh my God, I've never seen that many black people at a bar in Boulder. We started talking to people and there were some who said they came here from Atlanta for Prime. I think the black people who live here also have more of a sense of community. Don't bet on it. Not that we didn't have community before. What? But we feel free to be more above ground. In other words, is Zaddy going to approve or disapprove? What did I tell you all? Let's see if Zaddy approves or disapproves first. Let's not say anything that could upset him now. Watch what you say. Quote, at the risk of sounding cocky, I've always been prime, says Deion Sanders, and that's a risk he's been willing to take his entire life. He's bragged and backed it up since childhood. The headline of the first of 6 previous Sports Illustrated cover stories on Sanders in November 1989 came from one of his quotes in the piece. They don't pay nobody to be humble. They don't pay nobody to be humble. He was a bombastic young man then, a rising two-sport professional star who would become a Pro Football Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion and also play in the World Series, hitting .533 with 5 stolen bases for the Braves in 1992 against Toronto. He's a slightly less bombastic 56-year-old man now, still pretty much the same guy he's always been in a world that's more willing to embrace him as he is. Are you kidding me? Y'all been trying to tear him down since he said he wanted to be a college coach. Coach Prime didn't evolve to fit the role of college football coach nearly as much as college football evolved to meet up with Coach Prime. That's called transforming something. He didn't change for the world had to change for him, y'all. It was the 90s. Oh, it was the 90s, y'all. Some of us who remember our parents and stuff back in the 60s and 70s, well, all I can say to this is, well, it was the 90s. To all the millennials watching, the millennials and Gen Z, well, oh boy. Y'all know, hey, for anybody want to laugh today, you don't want nobody showing a picture of you from 1994, 1995. You don't want that. Do any of you want somebody to go find a random picture of you from 1994, 1995, 1996. Anytime. Do you want that? Do any of y'all want somebody finding a picture of you back from during the Death Row Records days? Come on now. Let's just, before you giggle, before you light him up, by the way, hold on. Can I look through your photo album from 1992 and tell me what I wonder if I'm going to see some MC Hammer pants jump out. Am I going to see some MC Hammer pants jump out? An S-curl? What's it going to be? What's it going to be before you jump on Dion now? Wait a minute. If I look back through that photo album, what am I going to find? Bunch of 6'5" brothers wearing yellow jackets. Y'all remember what it was? You was trying to look like either Heavy D or Big Bud from Today. Come on now. Oh, some of y'all didn't just have flat tops, you had the high top. Oh, you didn't just have a flat top, you had the high top. Negro head looked like a big brown eraser. I'm just saying. Before you get on Dion, by the way, it was the 90s. It was the 90s. All right. On this November afternoon, Sanders is sitting in his office overlooking Folsom Field with a view of the Rockies, which had received a fresh coating of snow the day before. He's wearing black overalls and a white hoodie. His Belgian Malinois dog, Gunner, is over by the window. That's very Boulder taking the dog to work. Anyway, behind him is a sign that reads, "If you look good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good." There is assuredly no other college football coach in America with a sign like that greeting visitors. But it perfectly fits the modern reality of the sport. Really? The days of pretending this isn't a business are over. College football has never been more about the money than it is now. From conference realignment decisions based on TV revenue to massive coaching salaries and shameless buyouts. Now it has finally trickled down to the players who have been liberated to be paid good if they play good. The NCAA's name, image, and likeness rules went into effect in the summer of 2021. You all need to put an asterisk beside that because that's actually not as straightforward as they're trying to make it sound. A landscape-altering development that the establishment had heavily resisted for decades because black men ain't supposed to be paid nothing. The white dudes are different. NIL, that's name, image, and likeness, and the transfer portal were prophesized as disasters by the Cassandras in football. In reality, they haven't damaged the popularity of the sport one bit. So you mean to tell me that all these folks who sat there lying all this time and telling you we can't pay players, why that would destroy the sport? Well, you're paying the coaches and the faculty and everybody. Yeah, but we don't want to pay those black kids out there. Why, that's how you would destroy the sport. Why isn't it destroying the coaching? Oh, we're immune from that. You want to know why we need reparations? Because you all are still practicing white supremacy and systemic racism and deprivation of resources to this very day. You damn right, cut the check. You damn right, cut the check. And yes, the colleges need to get their asses in line to cut their checks too. On account of all the money that you've made off of these young black men that you have starved and forced to take vows of poverty. And if they weren't able to make it to the pros, some of them, you're still trading on their names at your school to recruit people. You're still making money off of them to this day. They're not getting anything. You sitting up here making money off of them. You damn right, cut their check. In an era when players can profit by promoting and marketing themselves, Sanders is the expert in the field. He has always been prime. This is his time. His 2023 makeover of the Colorado roster via the portal resulted in an unprecedented 87 new players from the 1 to 11 dumpster fire he inherited. 1 and 11. 1 and 11. Folks, remember something. Deion Sanders is not the highest paid coach in college football. He doesn't have the richest team. He doesn't have the most resources. He has achieved this transformation of this team based on nothing more than his name and his charisma. He ain't got no big money to offer people like that. He has gotten this based strictly on his abilities. And yes, I understand him coming from Jackson State is the same as them grabbing somebody from the Negro Leagues. It is what it is. Jackson State, y'all fumbled the ball. NIL opportunities helped him stun the college football world while he was coaching at Jackson State, grabbing the number one recruit in the class of 2022, two-way star Travis Hunter, away from Florida State. Hunter has continued to profit from NIL. He is believed to be making 7 figures per year. 7 figures per year. These young men, see, white kids, they ain't got no problem caking them off for television shows or whatever. These young black men's like, we ain't trying to really do that. By the way, his son Shadur followed his dad from Jackson State. He drives a Rolls Royce, a chip off dad's flaunted block. Young black men are not supposed to be doing that unless they're on their way to jail or the grave. And what their word is that I'll be damned if we set them up to learn how to manage their money and actually get the profits they're supposed to get, and the schools don't get to just soak it all up. The schools get all the profits, but they make you sign a deal where you won't get a check. So they make sure that they get all the benefit from you and you don't get any benefit from yourself. And if you can make that generational, that's the sweet spot of white supremacy and oppression. They get to soak up all the proceeds and you agree to a vow of poverty. The marketing the Buffaloes began soon after Sanders arrived in Boulder for his introduction as coach on December 4th, 2022. A production crew from the Amazon series Coach Prime followed him, just as he documented his tenure at Jackson State, where he went 27-6 in 3 seasons and won new fans. But a Power 5 conference coaching job was the goal, and with it came new levels of competition and exposure, 2 of the central themes of Sanders' life. Growing up in Fort Myers, Florida, we won't hold it against you, young Deion spent most of his time immersed in 2 things, playing sports and consuming sitcoms. His life's work flowed from there. Quote, I've always played some type of sport, always organized some type of team in the neighborhood, he said. When we were in elementary school, our bus stop would play against another bus stop. We would get together, walk to the bus stop, play a game right there on the road. So we were sweaty and funky going to school. I would organize a baseball team and go get hats from the 7-Eleven so we could have a little structure. He's always understood the need for going beyond just your ability to play, that he understood image. Your performance is good, but in most places, your image is what people are paying for. Quote, I didn't have the prime nickname in youth leagues, but I've always been the guy who hit the home runs. I've always been the guy who scored the touchdowns. I've always been the guy who dunked and scored 30 points. I've always been the guy who brought people together, who broke up fights in school. I've always been the guy that some people hated, some people ridiculed, some people doubted. No one just let me ride. No one gave me a pass. I've always attracted a judgmental crowd. That's how God designed me. I've always provoked emotions. When he wasn't provoking emotions, he was studying them via TV. The golden era of 1970s comedy was fertile ground for Sanders. Quote, I watched a lot of television as a kid, he says, and I didn't just watch television. I watched television. I studied characteristics. I studied Good Times. I studied The Jeffersons. I studied Sanford & Son, Happy Days, All in the Family. I studied the dynamics of all these different shows. What made them click? Who was the guy? Who was the co-star? I just watched it like it was a game. Sanders then went on to play a variety of roles in real life, whether it's acting skills or genuine charisma. He has found a way to be all things to all people. You can see in him what you want to see. Did you all hear that? He's telling you, by the way, I'm not just some dumb athlete. I've been doing this since a child. I studied the dark arts of imagery, Norman Lear and CBS, what your television shows put together. I studied them. I studied the dynamics to discover what made them click. Who was the guy? Who was the co-star? So once you realize what made the main star, what made them the guy, and what made the co-stars the co-star, he's like, once I realized what that was, I'm realizing, okay, hey, this is how you lead people. And so he applied that social skill set that he picked up from television. He then turns and applies that to his vocation in football and everything else. Deion Sanders celebrity. In a world where many people are famous for no reason, he's famous for legitimate reasons. There he is with The Rock. There Dwayne is clout chasing. We ain't mad at you, Dwayne. You brought cameras with you. We ain't mad. His combination of unparalleled athletic accomplishment with eye-catching style and a gift for oratory makes him an attention magnet. And did we mention the smile? The number of very famous Americans who have come to Boulder just to be in Sanders' orbit exemplifies his gravitational pull. From The Rock to an array of Hall of Fame athletes to hip-hop icons, the sidelines at Colorado home games resembled VIP seating for a Tyson-era Vegas bout. The only other time a college football program attracted this wattage of star power was USC during the Pete Carroll heyday. Maybe. Really? Sanders has gained immense popularity and fame without an overindulgence in fakery. He does not say what people want to hear just to go along and get along. During the photo shoot for this story, one of the students in attendance yelled to Sanders, "Thanks for the follow yesterday on social media." Sanders' response, "That wasn't me, my man. My son does all that for me." The kid didn't seem to mind. Deion Sanders, authentic man. He's not trying to blend into the overwhelmingly white demographic of his profession. That would be faking it. There is no small percentage of America that would prefer he just fake it and stop being so black. Quote, "Our country's not prepared for an African-American man with this title telling the truth," Sanders said. All right. Just saying, by the way, at least he said it. I don't think we're there yet. Folks, he's saying that in his first year. I don't think our country's not, he didn't say I don't think they're prepared. Our country's not ready for an African-American man with this title telling the truth. The country ain't ready for it. He's sitting right there in the middle. They done paid him. He got him on the sidelines, and he's talking just like this. Folks, the moral of the story is what I was trying to tell you before. A black man ain't got to sit up here and sugarcoat and coon and buffoon and butt dance. If he does it because he wanted to butt dance, not because he had to. Charles Barkley and the rest of them are out there dancing the jig because that's who they are, not because that's what they had to do. They ain't playing the game. They butt dancing because that's what's in their heart and that's what they're worth. But they're not doing it because they have to. They're doing it because they're weak and cowardly. You can sit up here and get everything accomplished you're trying to do without sitting up here selling your soul and butt dancing and trying to be the safe Negro. And Prime is doing this straight up and center first year. He's like, hey, no matter which way you go, I'm saying it just like this. I can't do nothing but respect that. He's not waiting until they getting ready to fire him to say this. He's not saying this at the bottom of his college football career. He's saying this at the top of it. When the most people are watching, when Sports Illustrated showed up, he's saying this at the top of his game in a majority white school, in a majority white city, in a majority white state. I can't do nothing but respect that. You got niggas in the NFL and the NBA sitting on $100 million won't talk like this. Many of them, their careers are over and won't talk like this, hoping they can get some commentary job somewhere. The nigga can't string together 3 words, selling his soul for a commentary job he's never going to get. That's what we're dealing with. He goes on to say here that Rebecca, the African-American studies professor, posits that Sanders is, quote, arguably a hip-hop head coach. He's got the hat cocked to the side. He's got the gold chains. He's wearing the nicest Nikes and sweatsuits. That's easier to pull off at Jackson State than at a high major program where the established aesthetic is homogenous and pale. Even fellow black coach Jay Norvell of Colorado State took a shot at Sanders for his wardrobe. Quote, when I talk to grown-ups, I take my hat off and my glasses off. That's what my mother taught me. Sanders is undeterred and has Colorado's backing to be who he is. What a concept in 2023. The school loves Sanders' persona. Boulder, white as it is, but also decidedly liberal, welcomes the diversity. That has resonated nationally. The Buffaloes have been widely hailed as Black America's team. What? Excuse me? Okay. As Georgetown once was in college football. Quote, he's unapologetically African-American, says Rebecca. He speaks plainly, says it just like the brothers on the block, like the way we talk at the barbershop. We come from a culture of being expressive. We use call and response dialogue. Listen to him and you hear that. Deion Sanders, God-fearing man. If hip-hop culture isn't your thing, Sanders can pull you in with his public espousing of religion. He is a God squatter who refrains from swearing, peppering his sentences with dern and bull junk as replacements for cuss words, just as his legendary college coach Bobby Bowden did. There is no greater example of Sanders' cross-demographic reach than his friendships with Lil Wayne and Peggy Copham, the lifelong fan who has become the Sister Jean of Colorado football. Copham goes to church daily and respects Sanders' religious nature. Church daily? Hold on. Folks, there's a church you can go to every day? She goes to church. I'm from Louisiana. I've never heard of a church that you can go to, the pastor is there every day, or does he have folk filling in? What, is she just going there sitting in the pews and just watching the waterfall? I want to know what this church is. What is the church that she goes to that's open, quote, every day? She goes to church every day? Are you sure you don't mean she just watches it on TV? If she goes to church, what is that church? She respects Sanders' religious nature. Quote, I really like the fact that he's not reluctant to express his faith in God, she says. If there was anything Sanders did this year that could be characterized as Christianity in action, it was his peacemaker role after Colorado State safety Henry Blackburn delivered a cheap shot that led to Hunter missing 3.5 games with an internal injury. With Colorado fans heaping abuse on Blackburn and his family, Sanders diffused the situation. Quote, this is still a young man trying to make it in life, a guy that's trying to live his dream and hopefully graduate with honors or a degree, committed to excellence and go to the NFL, Sanders said. He does not deserve a death threat over a game. Deion Sanders, old school college football coach. The perceived Hollywood culture of the program runs into a reality that insiders unanimously describe as heavy on structure. Quote, he might have more rules than a lot of other programs, said Chad Chotlos of Turnkey ZRG Executive Search, which handles high-profile coach and athletic director searches. Quote, people miss on how much discipline and accountability he brings to a program. In the transfer portal era, coaches are petrified of criticizing their players. Yet Sanders certainly didn't coddle the most touted freshman on his team, defensive back Cormani McClain. When McClain wasn't playing much early in the season, Sanders pretty much put him on blast. Quote, study, prepare, be on time for meetings, show up to the darn meetings. Want to play this game? Desire to play this game? Desire to be the best in the game in practice, in the film room, and on your own free time. Folks, he didn't say this at the bottom of his career. He didn't say this once they start threatening his job. He didn't say that once the money started drying up and the fans walked away. He's coming in the door saying, hey, I'm talking to everybody the same. He's acting like this is his last year in his first year. That's character. Criticize Deion for whatever you will. I certainly have. But by the way, I can't do anything but respect this right here. That doesn't mean he gets a carte blanche pass for everything. I didn't say that. But this right here, I respect that. Deion Sanders, family man. Like many parents in their 50s, this is the role he cherishes most. Interaction with his kids is waning as the youngest move through college, but Sanders managed to forestall that bittersweet inevitability by going to college with them. First at Jackson State, now at Colorado. Then he brought most of the rest of the family with him to Boulder. Sanders' description of the dynamic at Colorado's Dow Ward Athletic Center sounds like something out of a sitcom. Quote, "How in the world is this not heaven on earth?" Sanders says in his office. "Every day, my daughter comes through that door and gives me a kiss. Every day, Shadur comes in here and takes a shower, changes clothes. Then they wash my clothes like they do, and I find his Okay. Deion, too much information. Deion, TMI. Too much information, Deion. Too much information. My sister, his assistant Tracy Knight, is outside. My mother is over there watching the soap operas. My dog is right here. How in the world can I not be thankful and appreciative of where I am? They have afforded us the luxury of calling this place home, and we've absolutely loved it." As it turns out, Sanders' agency, SMAC, and Kevin Hart's production company are working on a sitcom based on Coach Prime's life. It's all coming full circle for the boy who grew up studying 70s TV shows. He's about to become the inspiration for one. As for the actual football, it's been an adventure. Colorado is massively improved over 2022 when it was by far the worst Power 5 program. The Buffaloes were outscored by 29.1 points per game last year compared to 6.7 this year. You know, there's an old saying from Sun Tzu and the Asian generals with the art of war when they said that if you treat your soldiers like your sons, they will follow you to the gates of hell. And I suggest to you that this is a testimony of the fact that these young men last year did not see somebody that they respected. They did not see a man that they respected their coach's office. And they showed it in their play, and they showed it on the field that they did not respect them. They didn't feel motivated to do so. And the difference is now they got somebody in that office that they actually respect. And they're showing it on that field. Las Vegas set their over-under total at 3.5 wins coming into the season, and the Buffs surpassed that in early October. But there have been pratfalls. For all the acclaim Sanders has received, he's also gotten criticism for blowing a 29-point lead to a bad Stanford team, for mismanaging the clock in a couple of games, for strangely demoting offensive coordinator Sean Lewis. It hasn't all been sunshine and reflector shades. Quote, "If you have 10 boxes to check, I'd say 8 of them are checked," Chatlow said. This was a program lacking relevance, and he's Mr. Relevant. He's given them that. I'd say B. Now, I'm assuming that's a B plus and not B minus. I'd say B plus so far. The question is, how good of a football program is he building? That remains to be answered. What Colorado does in the portal this offseason will be a huge part of the equation, as will Shadur's decision on whether to enter the NFL draft. For Sanders, he has to decide whether the current joy he's experiencing will last after his sons hang up their helmets. For Colorado, they want those luminous smiles to radiate in Boulder for a long time. "I trust him," said athletic director Rick George. "He feels this is his calling." Rick, you might not have been paying attention to the last 2 years, but all right. The call has been answered. The response has been emphatic. The paradigm has been shifted. College football has never seen anything like the prime effect when it hit Boulder in the fall, and the sport might never be the same again. Brothers and sisters from around the world, I'm making a simple point. I'm not here to tell you to hold Deion Sanders up as a hero. I'm not telling you to hold him up as a paragon of virtue. I'm not telling you to hold him up as a bastion of principle. I'm not telling you to hold him up as some idol for you to revere. I'm certainly not telling you to hold him up as the epitome of pro-blackness. I'm not saying any of that. I am simply saying that this is a microcosmic, look it up. This is a singular example of a black man who made a goal, went for it here, and made a decided decision that he wasn't going to alter himself because you knew the pressure was on to do that. And he decided to keep himself the way he was and succeed, where usually so many try to figure out what do the other folk want you to be, and then you become that. This is a study in character, is what I'm telling you. This is a study in character. And everybody loves you when you're at the top, but Dion isn't playing that game. He's not playing the game of do you love me at the top. He's talking as if this is his last year. He's telling you about being black. He's telling you about what he likes and doesn't like. He's calling it just like it is. He's calling it just like it is. And he's not being afraid to represent. And as a result, I think that if he continues down this road, he will come out of this far more respected than any of his peers who entered and then came out buck dancing and bull jiving and playing around and cooning and buffooning. That's the lesson. That you can be a black man, you can state exactly what it is. You ain't got to sit around with Malcolm X t-shirts on all the time. He's acknowledging what the situation is. He's calling it for what it is and still going out there and doing his best work and succeeding and prospering. And they are accepting this man on his terms. That's my point. When you stand on business, people will accept you on your terms. And so whether he quote unquote succeeds or fails, no matter which way the wind blows on this, no matter which way the cookie crumbles, when it's all over, he's going to be able to hold his head up high because he will be able to tell anybody, I never sold out and pretended to be something I wasn't to get anywhere. If I win it, if I lose it, man, I was real all the way there. So let this stand as an example to others. You can be real all the way there. Now, of course, if you're a real coon, I guess you got to be who you got to be. But be that as it may, that's an example of it I think you can be proud of. At least in this respect. I think you can. We're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, he's not the only one. Kanye is also doing the same thing here, so I want to review that as well. Before we do, I want to give a big shout out here to everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo, my man Andrew L, Mark B, Chadwick. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that as well. One brief aside here, for those of you who are not aware or if you didn't look at it, if you go to the community tab here on YouTube, you can see that for some strange reason, though we all know what the reason is, CashApp has disabled my account here for the Black channel. CashApp has disabled it. They did it in the middle of the night last night while I was broadcasting on my other YouTube channel. They did it in the middle of the night last night. So for those of you who might have been trying to use that one and it's not working, you can go take a look at the message they sent about, we think you've been gambling or some other activity that violates terms of service, when y'all know full damn well I ain't violated anything, but white supremacy doing what white supremacy does. So like I say, definitely just to let you all know, if you've been trying to use the Black channel Cash App, they have disabled it. I put a link to my other Cash App in the description of the video there. So it's my other one that I use on my other YouTube channel, but it's all good regardless. We're going to see if we can get this situation with them straightened out because we all know it's bogus. But in the meantime, if you're still using Cash App, I put the link to I put the name of my other Cash App in the description, The Business Broadcast. So definitely you can go ahead and check that out as well. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we'll be dealing with this and more. This is the Black Channel.
Hello, my name is Steve Burgess. I'm the author of this book, Guidelines for the Successful Student. a closer look at parenting your school-aged child. In this book, I've explained the role of the parent and the student in addition to what accommodations, procedures, rewards and consequences and expectations that need to be in place to ensure student success from primary to high school. This book is available on Amazon.com. For more information, please visit my link tree at Easy One-on-One, and to access my latest podcast, A Teaching Moment with Mr. B. Thank you all for listening.
A white supremacist assassin seeks revenge. Corrupt FBI agents with evil intentions. Dangerous black collaborators dedicated to treason. Occam Jeffers must defeat them all and somehow survive. One misstep and he's a dead man. Join Occam Jeffers as he looks the devil in his blue eyes and tells him, Black first. A sequel to the underground hit War of the Heart, Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents God Love Us, on sale at Amazon. Pre-order and save today. Visit spiritOf1811publishing.com and show your love.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' natural body butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening and discussing folks who are standing on their business and not afraid to ruffle the feathers here and whatnot. There's a video that's been going around here with Kanye West. I posted it here earlier. Kanye West made a video here, so folks are talking about black folk speaking up about the Palestinians and Israeli conflict. Well, Kanye had some choice words here. By the way, if you have children here, this isn't edited, but you can see up here on the screen what he was saying here. Actually, that's kind of out of context too, but so in other words, the lyrics that the likes of Leor Cohen has been more than thrilled to finance for black women, the types of lyrics that they call them black bees and everything else, and not just black rappers, by the way. Shout out Eminem. Shout out Eminem. But by the way, yeah, the lyrics that they used to, and you paid for this. This was no problem before. No problem before. So it's going to be kind of hard for you to sit up here and scream foul now. It was never a problem before now. It was never an issue before today. It wasn't an issue before this week. Never was an issue before now. So I'm just saying, by the way, if you gonna tell Kanye he got to clean it up, wait a minute, hold on. Leor Cohen and the rest of y'all. Leor Cohen and the rest of you. And oh man, y'all got some explaining to do, don't you? If you're gonna try to play that one, you got some explaining to do. Because so far as we can see, it's like, this not a good look for you. If you're gonna try to go there with it. Not a good look. Not a good look. So Kanye is using his abilities here to call out hypocrisy here to a degree, because of course you know what the point is. It's like, okay, if he's out of line for this, but you've been paying them to say this now for decades. It was okay when he was saying this for decades over here. Now all of a sudden it's going to be illegit. You sure you want to go there with it? Now all of a sudden it's not legitimate? Really? Really? That's going to be a tough road to hoe. I'm doing tonight's program here because I'm reminding you all about the folks who stand on their business here, and that, yeah, you're gonna encounter some adversity, but as a black person, you're gonna encounter adversity no matter what you do. There isn't anything you're going to do that isn't going to encounter adversity. Folks, you're trying to get folks to not hate you. Man, they're going to hate you no matter what you do. There isn't anything you're going to do that isn't going to attract controversy, that isn't going to attract criticism, that isn't going to attract problems. There isn't anything you're going to do that's going to do that. If you sit up here and sell yourself out, you're just doing that for fun. You're not doing it because you had to, and you're not doing it because you got ahead. All you're really doing is making yourself a pariah for no damn reason, except that's who you are. Except that's who you are. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. Folks aren't dumb, they just play dumb. Folks aren't stupid, they just play silly. A lot of folks think they're going to coon and buffoon and buck dance and shuck and jive their way through things, and then they got no credibility. Kanye's done had issues, but by the way, he's showing you he going to stand on it. He hasn't backed down. By the way, he hasn't backed down. He hasn't tried to figure out how to be the most liked person or the most popular. He hasn't backed down. You know, some of our political leadership could use some of this. Some of our political leadership could stand to, gain some of this type of fortitude. Some of them could learn to do this. You got white supremacists all over the damn place talking crazy and this, that, and the other. Your so-called black leadership isn't saying anything. They're trying to tell you to figure out how to be the most harmless people in the room. You're the most attacked people in the room, and yeah, but you got to prove to folks you're the most harmless. And by the way, is this going to hurt his prospects going forward? No. And by the way, will this hurt his prospects going forward? No. Let this serve as a lesson. But here's the other thing. Kanye didn't do this at the beginning of his career. No. But once he got to a place where he was solidified, just like Deion Sanders, once he got to a point where he was solidified, he was like, okay, you know what? I'm straight enough now. Let me go ahead and say something. That's what these other folks do. They don't usually show their white supremacist fangs until they feel like they're safe and solidified, and they start telling you what they really think. This is a lesson that other folk can learn from. This is a lesson other people could learn from here. In any case, we're going to wrap up tonight's program. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War, all available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank everyone who's contributed to support tonight's program. Thank you very much for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Thank you for watching live or recorded. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is